Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. No schedule. No, I got a bit of a rant. Going to be chatting. Today's going to be weird. I'm pretty upset. And I think I have a right to be, as a lot of people should. Here, let me mute this before I make the damn thing feedback. Um, excuse me. I'm sure there's many, many of you out there that have heard about the North Rim fire at the Grand Canyon. Oh, it's such a tragedy. Such a fucking tragedy. I might piss some of you off. This is my opinion, but I happen to believe it's valid and have done so for the past 30 years ish. So the North Rim Lodge is burned. It's gone. The North Rim's closed for the season. Why? Oh, because it all burned down. Why did it all burn down? Because of the Sierra Club? Because of the Bureau of Land Mismanagement? Just federal government. We'll lump them all in there together. Forest Service. These are your culprits, every one of them. And there may be more that are collusive in this or whatever that word would be. I'm mad because Grand Canyon is a place I dearly love. I've wanted to go there my whole life and never had the opportunity. I've been within a couple hundred miles twice, but didn't have time to go stop and look over the edge. Ah, why did it burn? I don't know why it burned. Yes, I do. My opinion, and you can disagree with me if you want. I don't really care. Um, I'm so mad. Morning, Bud Files. Morning, good to see you. Anybody else that's out there listening to me rant? So, sometime in the 20s, 28 or 29, the Grand Lodge burned. Um, Before, because there was a terrible fire. Shortly after that, they rebuilt it, 1930 something, the middle of the Depression. People starving to death, and they jumped in and said, "Oh, we got jobs. Come work," for basically nothing. Um, it was a different time. But anyway, these people went back and they worked and they rebuilt the lodge and they did the things. And then a company started. I don't know the name of it. I know it was eventually owned by the Whiting brothers. They're a big logging company. You know, those evil loggers that operate in the western half of the United States. Um, anyway, they managed that forest around the North Rim for, I don't know, 70 years. There were a few fires. There's always a few fires. But the lumber company that was there, or lumber companies that were there, had dozers and skidders, and loggers, people that had heavy equipment and chainsaws and stuff to go in and fight the fires. For example, typical way that it would happen, lightning strikes, let's just blame it on Mother Nature. We get the notification, we meaning them, the people that are there, and they go and they grab their dozers and their skidders and some loggers and they cut a circle around the 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 lightning strike to get to make a fire line around it, and they get dozers out there, skid the logs out, and there's nothing for the fire to burn. Then the 90s happened. You might remember the 90s. Hi, Camellia. You might remember the 90s. Good old Billy Boy and his friends at the Sierra Club decided that The spotted owl was very important, and it was losing its habitat to this evil logging industry. At the time, I said, well, they stopped managing the forests by thinning the underbrush and the old trees and things out there. I'm not talking about old growth. I'm talking about trees that are dead, have died, widowmakers standing there waiting to do something bad to somebody. Anyway, uh, we saved the spotted owl because Bill Clinton signed the paper that the Sierra Club had presented and signed and yada yada yada, and hundreds of people lost their jobs. The logging companies were kicked out of the area, and Bureau of Land Management, U.S. government, and Sierra Club, those entities, Forestry Service, they didn't have anything better than a shovel. That's what they had. There was no equipment left out there. Logging companies pulled out. The equipment's gone. Look on a map. The Grand Canyon's big. It's fucking remote. And some of the places are just about inaccessible. Well, now we've had this fire. And there's been other fires. I'm not saying that the fire's the thing. There'll always be fires. Wood burns. There's my shocked face. Hey, Brutal Bob, welcome. Ranting today. Ranting. By the way, cheers, everybody. I am stone cold sober. I'm not stoned. I'm not anything. I'm just mad because the North Rim fire, as it is today, basically uncontrolled. I don't know. They might have some of it controlled today, but yesterday it was completely uncontrolled. 0% contained. Didn't have to happen. Not this way. You know why it didn't have to happen this way? Because if they were managing the forests, the forest wouldn't be able to burn as easily as they did. Here in Oregon, 3 years ago, I think. Now, anyway, time fucking fast. We had some of the worst fires we've ever had here. Fires made it onto the west side where I live. That's almost unheard of. People were evacuated, towns burned literally to the ground. People had to start over completely, all because of forest mismanagement. And this fire right here, forest mismanagement. There's nobody out there with equipment and fire lines and, well, you've got the Forestry Service and they've got the fire jumpers. And you taking a look at the Forestry Service budget lately? They're a shit organization, in my opinion, anyway, because they don't really do anything for the forest. And what about those spotted owls? Let's talk about those. Man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we saved all that habitat in the 90s. Where's the spotted owl live now? Maybe Uncle Joe's got a tree somewhere around Houston they could live in. I don't know. They could probably get there. So I'm sad and I'm mad because one of the most beautiful places I've desired to see all my life is now decimated and probably in my lifetime will not recover sufficiently that I'll be able to see it in the grandeur that it was there. And that's because they didn't manage the forest. They had to save the habitat for the spotted owl. Man, I wish people would wake up. I'm not a logger. I have I have nothing to do with the timber industry. I just live where there's a lot of trees. Thank you very much, Snooks. Appreciate you. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of stuff to go with out there. You don't have to take my word for it. You can research it for yourself. Oh, Ellen, thank you, dear. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate you so much. It's good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I'm just sad about this fire because now I won't be able to see I'll be able to see the Grand Canyon, but I won't be able to see the Grand Canyon the way it should be, the way it would still be right now if the Forestry Service managed the land properly. I like to go ride my scooter in the forest. It's a beautiful place to ride. I love trees. Yeah, yeah. See, Brutal Bob, direct experience right there. Direct experience. So I'm not crazy. I don't have to. I live in a fucking apartment in a town. I got a couple of trees around me that I don't know. They might fall on my head, kill me someday. But we're in a city, so a fire big enough here to lower the city is epic proportions, especially in the western side. But even here, the land is managed. They go out, they trim trees, they cut out deadfall, or they've cut out dead stands. They take away the underbrush, and uh, man, thanks guys. Thanks for fucking up my shit because you didn't have to. I expect there's going to be fires. There's always going to be fires. There's fires on the east side of this state every year. There's probably fires right now. We're coming into the beginning of fire season. So I would imagine there's probably some lightning strike fires. And as we get closer to the end of the summer and the weather gets a little more severe, it'll get worse. And there'll be more fires. And then there'll be idiots out there that think they're smarter than everybody and they flick their cigarette out the window, or they don't put their fire out completely, or they build a fire where they're not supposed to, or with improper materials. The list goes on and on. I own my part of the problem. The part that I'm involved in, I own. I use toilet paper. I use paper towels. I live in a place made of wood. I have wood that I use for my plants. It goes on and on and on. I use the stuff, but it's a usable industry. Yeah, I wasn't even. This particular fire didn't have anything to do with arson at this point, at least by no announcement. It's a lightning strike, as far as I know. Um, but it's just sad. The arsonists they didn't intend to be arsonists. They were kids fucking around. I still blame them for the loss of all of the stuff in the Columbia Gorge that burned. Yeah, they had just rebuilt the tunnel. It's a historical tunnel in the Columbia Gorge, and they had just rebuilt it, put new timbers in, and remade it so it was structurally sound. And that burned in that fire. Kids playing with fireworks in an area they shouldn't have had fireworks, not supervised by their parents. It's I didn't know I was going to bitch about shitty parents today either, but it's all part of it. And then the punishment that the government and our judicial system handed out to those kids. $5 million fine. Fuck you. It shouldn't have been fined a dime, not a dime. What they should have been done is indentured into servitude in the Forestry Service or whatever, out planting trees, cutting underbrush, doing the few things that are still done. And they should have had to do that for 10 years. So they were in their mid-20s. Zero pay. I'd say 1,500, 2,000 community service hours. I bet they'd never light a firework in a place that they weren't supposed to. I bet they'd think about starting a fire anywhere they needed to because they were punished for the mistake they made. And I don't think that's a severe punishment. Millions and millions of trees and dollars and homes were lost in that, and that was a relatively small fire. It's frustrating, folks. I don't want to harp, but the North Rim fire didn't have to happen as it is. It didn't have to devastate. It didn't have to run for, days, uncontrolled. I'm presuming it's still uncontrolled. I guess I should look it up, but I was just so upset. First thing I saw on my feed this morning was North Rim fire stuff, and most of it's from yesterday. But things things don't have to be the way they are. Things don't have to be this hard. We keep making them that hard. If we as people, us, me, normal, one person gives a shit and starts talking about this, maybe it'll make a difference. Maybe it'll wake up some of these other people that don't understand. Maybe they'll do 2 Google searches and find out there's more than one opinion. And most of the stuff they've been reading, in fact, are opinions, not facts. Let's teach kids how to research, not how to Google. Let's teach kids how to go look things up in print, not on the internet printed in print, in a rag, in a magazine, in a published paper that was created by somebody. And then you check those facts and you talk to people and you do those things. But nobody knows. It seems like nobody knows how to do that anymore. Just do the thing. What caused the fire in Arizona, Utah? And then the first answer that pops up might be a rat farted on a spark plug. So that's what caused the fire. People, we got to wake up. We've forgotten as a people that we are supposed to be controlling the government, not the way it is right now. We, the people, remember that phrase? Might sound familiar to some of you. I know it does to Snooks and Ellen and Brutal Bob. Bet the Bud Files knows a couple things about it too. We got to speak up. We got to make them change. Stop watching the Trump show. I don't care if you like Trump's politics or not. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care if he's your president. He's not mine. I don't call him President Trump. You might notice that. I call him Donald or Mr. Trump because he's not a president. He's a fucking figurehead. He's a showman. And he says something inflammatory, does something stupid, and the whole world lights up with what Trump's done today. It keeps him in the limelight and it keeps him up there. He didn't win the election by the popular vote. He bought the election with the electoral vote, with backroom deals and bullshit. This is my opinion. I don't care if you agree with it or not. I don't speak about politics very often. And this is why I'm very, very opinionated about it. But we need to do something. Not the Senate, not the Congress, not the BLM. That's Bureau of Land Management. For those of you that don't realize that BLM was out there before some of the other stuff that's happened in more recent times. We need to make them understand that they work for us. And the way we make them understand is with our voices and our actions and our votes and our dollars. There's a lot of people out there that say, see, your vote didn't matter because the Electoral College just put Trump in there anyway. Like I said, this isn't about whether Trump is your president or not your president. That's nothing to do with this conversation. It's about the broken process of the election. Free Chris and me, welcome. I'm ranting today. Got started on the North Rim fire and the Bureau of Mismanagement and stuff, and now I'm off on a tangent I'm bitching about other stuff now. So, it's one of those days. I'm just mad about this rim fire. Thanks for dropping by the way. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's listening here. Curiosity Corner, what are you doing in my live? You should be working or sleeping. But yeah, I don't care how you talk, folks. I don't care how you get active. I don't, there's going to be, like 10 people that ever hear me say this shit anyway, but I feel better for saying it. Speak with your vote. Speak with your mouth. Speak with your actions. Speak with your dollars. Be a conscientious objector. Whatever works for you, do it. I've been complacent and I haven't been involved. I don't go on talk shows and talk about, I call them talk shows. I know they're panels, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I don't do this for this reason. I'm super passionate about it. And everybody thinks I'm mad and they think I'm bitching and yelling at them. And I'm not. I'm just passionate. And I don't know how to be a little bit upset about things I'm passionate about. Steve-O, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, my friend. If you're anywhere in the Grand Canyon area and you're affected negatively by these fires, my heart goes out to you. If you've lost property or you've lost belongings or friends, I don't know if anybody's even been hurt in this fire or not. Like I said, my facts are not completely checked. And I'm just being transparent about that. I just saw this crap pop up as I got up to have my coffee and relax with my morning feed and watch my stupid car shows. It's just plastered with this North Rim stuff. And I'm done. I'm done with not saying anything. When I used to off-road and be one of those bad people that go on the trails in the forest with their four-wheel drive and tearing up the trees, that's not what we did. We do every year. The group I belong to, we go up. Well, there's two that Solve does. One in the Tillamook State Forest and another at the beach. And my group, not my personal group, the group I belong to, we participated in that cleanup every year. We'd take our trucks and our equipment and we'd go up there and we'd drag out abandoned cars out of the canyons and drag mattresses and refrigerators and garbage and trash. And we'd spend a whole day up there doing that. And when we would get there, Auntie Jack, welcome. Good to see you. Always a pleasure to see you. Can't comply your way out of tyranny. I love that, Auntie. Love that. Sorry, I was on my rant and I didn't see that. So, but anyway, I may not get on panels and give my opinions very often, but I'm probably going to be taking some of my 15 minutes of fame here on this YouTubes and do stuff like this from time to time because I can't, I've got to be part of the solution. I can't stand being part of the problem anymore. Yeah, thanks for that sage advice, Curiosity. Jeez, my partner in crime. I'm so disappointed today. So disappointed today. Not only is the government ruined the North Rim of the Grand Canyon, but now my partner in podcast, Curiosity, has given in to the other side. I knew it was sarcasm, Carrie. I knew it was sarcasm. Yeah, it's one of those things. But hey, somebody's in front of my place. You know how I can tell? Because that sound just happened. That's Ring. That's Ring. My mustache looks incredibly wonderful today. It's very well behaved today. Some days it does strange pointy things, but get involved. I'm going to in some way. But anyway, where I was going with that whole thing with cleaning up and the evil off-roaders that I was a part of one of the groups of, we went out there to clean up every year. I participated in those every year because I used the trails. I used the beach. Made sense for me to go help clean up the mess that dumbasses made. Guess who didn't show up? Sierra Club. Those people that want to tell us how bad we are and how we're ruining the land by driving on it with our trucks. They had two representatives there, and they weren't even officials. They were just people who were members of the club for the cleanup. There were over 150 volunteer people, 80 trucks, trailers. I can't, and all this is free, folks. We do this for nothing because we want to use our resources. Yeah, let's stop being complacent. Let's stop watching fires happen and be part of making fires not happen. Let's tell the government, hey, the North Rim didn't have to happen in our national forest and one of our greatest parks there in the Grand Canyon. That didn't have to happen. The fact that you fucked shit up and didn't manage the forests around there is now an everybody problem, but it's a you created problem. I created the problem in the part that I've been quiet, but let's not be. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go watch some fun stuff. I'm going to have an amazing, happy, fun day. I just needed to get that off my chest. My heart goes out to those folks devastated by this fire. Didn't have to happen, and I'm sorry that it did. Everyone, take care of yourselves. Get involved. Do something, even if it's bad. I don't care. If it's part of the solution, then it's good. And by bad, what I mean is unpopular. Unpopular can be bad. If I made you mad today, I'm not sorry. Instead of being angry with me, figure out what's really the problem inside your brain and then work on fixing that, because it's not my passion that makes you angry. Michael Songs, bless you, brother. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Just saying my goodbyes. I didn't play my intro today because it just didn't feel like it was a jokey kind of day, but I am going to play my outro, and then I will bid you all adieu. I may see you somewhere later on. I might even do a karaoke show tonight. I don't know. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out. Anybody that catches it in the replay, thumbs up to you. Like, don't subscribe. Tell me to fuck off in the comments. Don't care. I'll try and respond. I'm slow, but I'll get back to you. Even if your opinion is different than mine, I don't mind having a conversation. Just don't tell me it's your monkey bars and I got to get off the playground because we're not in grade school anymore. Anyway, I love you all. Take care. Be safe. Here we go.